Hi, Miss Karen at the library here, and we're going to be learning all about Vincent Van Gogh today. Vincent Van Gogh was an artist from a long time ago, and the painting that you see now is one of his most famous paintings. It's called Starry Night, and it's the painting that we're going to be recreating today. And if you want to see the actual Starry Night that Vincent Van Gogh painted, you are in luck because it is housed at the Museum of Modern Art in New York City, and the library has museum passes for that museum. So you can go to the library and check out the museum pass, and you can go to the Museum of Modern Art and see this for yourself. What you're looking at now is a self-portrait that Vincent Van Gogh painted of himself. He was born in 1853 in the Netherlands, and he died in 1890 in France. France is where he did most of his painting. Vincent Van Gogh is a post-impressionist artist. He uses bold colors and thick, short brush strokes. You can notice that in these pictures that I'm showing you on the screen right now. He's famous for not only painting portraits, but for still lifes of flowers and for landscapes like the Starry Night or wheat fields. For our recreation of the Starry Night, you're going to need the following materials: white paper, a pencil, crayons, colored pencils, and markers, especially in lots of shades of blue, green, and yellow. If you need to pause the video now to go gather your supplies, you can do that. Here's Van Gogh's Starry Night, and here is what our recreation is going to look like. Now you may be saying to yourself, Miss Karen, that doesn't look exactly like Starry Night. You have some things in different places. And it's true. Starry Night is a very big picture. And in order to bring it down to a normal paper size without making each individual thing be too tiny, I did change a couple things around so I could make the houses a little bigger and I can make the moon a little bigger. So it would be easier for everyone to draw and to color. But you can draw it closer to what Van Gogh had if you want to. The first thing that we're going to need to do is to sketch out the background of what we're going to be filling in. I used a marker so it would be easier for you to see on video, but you're going to use a pencil to do this. Notice we made the tall cypress tree all the way on the left. We have the moon in the top right corner. We have that slope down of the landscape. And we have the little town at the bottom with that tall church steeple in the middle. So take a few minutes and pause the video here and draw out your background. So the first thing we're going to tackle in this picture is this little town. And you'll notice in the original that it has little lighted windows in some of the buildings. So that's what we're going to do first. You're going to use yellow, either a marker or crayon or pencil, whatever, and you're going to put some little lights in some of these windows. When you're done with that, you're going to take either markers or pencils and some browns and greens, and you're going to be coloring in some of these houses. Now remember, he uses some shorter strokes, so you're not going to color the whole thing totally in just yet. And you're going to use all different types of materials and all different types of pressure so you can get these different shades in your picture. So I'm going to do some more brown there. So you're going to continue this until all of those houses are colored in, and then we'll go on to the next step. So Vincent Van Gogh has a lot of blue in this picture. So once you've gotten all of the thick brush strokes on these houses, I like to go back with a dark blue crayon and just kind of fill in all those empty spaces in the house that are around those thick brush strokes that you did. So this way it's completely colored in. And so that's going to be, you can pause the video while you finish these houses, and then we'll go to the next step. The next part we're going to be working on are the cypress and these bushes and this extra greenery in the background here. So you're going to take some dark green and you're going to make these short brush strokes all on this cypress. You can use different shades of green and different materials. You can put some black in because it is very dark. And the same thing down here. You can put in some more curved lines. And up here, some more curved lines because there's some other greenery up here. This whole section does not need to be green though, because there's a lot of blue in that section. So we're just going to put in some of the greenery, and then the rest we're going to fill in with some blue later on when we do the blue part last. When you're done with these sections, just like we did with the houses, I like to go over with some crayon in the back just to fill in all of those extra white spaces. And same thing back here. Fill in all those extra white spaces. If you want to fill it in with some green with the black, you can do that. And even up here, I want to fill in a little bit with these white spaces with some black. Okay, so once all your green stuff is done, we're going to move on to the moon and the stars and this big flowing strip down here. The first thing is your moon. You're going to color that yellow, the whole thing. And you're going to pick some spots to put some stars. Leave this space in the middle for that big swirl. So put stars around, but try to leave that big space in the middle. When you're done drawing all the stars in, now it's time for those thick brush strokes again. So they kind of go around the moon and around all the stars. And again, I'm doing it with a marker right now, but I'm going to then switch to pencils and crayons to have it look like there's lots of different shades here. On this big strip that goes down, so you're going to do a lot of those short little strokes all the way down. And now I'm going to switch to a crayon in a slightly different shade. And there's even a tiny bit of orange in some of these parts. So I'm putting a tiny little bit of orange. Now for this part, you don't really have to color in the backgrounds like we did earlier because there's actually a lot of white in these pictures also that we would have a hard time trying to draw in. So we're just going to leave those little empty spots white for this part. So now we are up to the fun part, that big blue sky. And so you're going to grab your pencil and you're going to make a big swirly loop here, around, and around like that. Then you're going to see I have all of these kinds of shades of blue, and I'm just going to take them and I'm going to make all those little brush strokes. And I remember that in that picture, the darker parts were up here and down here, and this swirl had some of the lighter blue. So I'm going to make the lighter blue in here, and I'm just going to keep going, and I'm going to add different materials so I can get different shades in there. I have some crayons, so these are going to be my lighter blue shades, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to fill in a little more with the darker blue on the outer part, following it around. And I'm going to do the same thing down here with some of my darker blues. There's some longer lines that look like they're coming down like this in this part. And with these blues, when I'm all done, I will go through with a blue crayon, just like we did with the houses and the trees. I'll go in with a dark blue, and I'm going to color the backgrounds, make it all complete in between. So once I finish doing all of these lines with all of my different shades of blue, I'm going to go back and color in the background a little bit so it's nice and complete. So there you have our completed recreation of Van Gogh's Starry Night. I hope you enjoyed this activity today, and if you want to have some more fine art activities, come back in October when we talk about Pablo Picasso.